Subscribe now for daily exclusive fan fiction. Comment below with the scenarios you want to hear next. In this thrilling tale, join Neville, Luna, and Ginny as they confront dark forces and uncover shocking secrets at Hogsmeade. In the quiet aftermath of the Battle of Hogwarts, the air in Hogsmeade felt charged with a mix of unease and hopeful anticipation. Neville Longbottom stood at the edge of the bustling village, watching as familiar faces drifted through the streets. Just a year ago, his life had been one of self-doubt. But today, the weight of his newfound role as the leader of Dumbledore's army filled him with a resolve he never thought possible. The destruction they had witnessed hung in the air, but so did the promise of healing, and Neville was determined to carry that torch. Luna Lovegood arrived next, her ethereal presence somehow calming the storm brewing inside him. Her dreamy blue eyes sparkled with enthusiasm as she approached, carrying the scent of wildflowers and sunshine. Neville, did you see the way the leaves dance with the wind? She mused as they headed towards the Hog's Head for their meeting. Her whimsical words always seemed to pierce through his worries, granting him a moment of reprieve. As they entered the small, dimly lit pub, the chatter of their friends filled the room, but an underlying tension hung like a thick fog. Ginny Weasley was already speaking to the group, her fiery spirit igniting the conversation. Each member of the DA sat with a mix of excitement and apprehension, knowing they were no longer the schoolchildren who had rallied against dark forcesthi, were now warriors in their own right. However, looming shadows taunted them. Draco Malfoy appeared, his presence stirring a wave of uncertainty. Once a rival, he now stood before them, his conflicted past making him a wild card in their plans. "I won't betray my own," he had insisted. Yet doubt lingered. How could they trust him now, when old grudges still festered? As the meeting commenced, Neville felt the heaviness of responsibility lay heavily on his shoulders. He needed to inspire confidence and unity. We're here together to train and prepare. The Death Eaters may be back, and we cannot afford to falter, he declared, his voice steady yet vulnerable. It was in this moment of resolve that he glimpsed the doubts flickering in the eyes of his friends. But then came Luna's discovery, the crucial information about a secret stronghold of the Death Eaters near Hogsmeade. The room went silent. The gravity of her words resonated deeply. They must act fast, train harder, become stronger. Yet, as Neville rallied the DA, he felt the burning desire to protect them all juxtaposed with the fear of not being good enough. With every heartbeat thudding behind his ribs, the fire of determination ignited within him. They were on the precipice of a battle, one that would bring everything they cherished into question. But together, they were a force to be reckoned with. As they began their training, the storm was gathering, and Neville was ready to face it, not just as a leader, but as a friend willing to fight for the bonds that held them together. The meetings at the Hogsheade had revitalized their spirits, but whispers of darkness still loomed, heavy and unyielding. Neville felt it in his bones, an unsettling awareness that there was more to reveal about the Death Eaters than they knew. Luna's discovery about the secret stronghold haunted him, an echo of threat sharpened into clarity. Tension hung thick in the air as they gathered again, this time at an abandoned building on the outskirts of Hogsmeade Place, steeped in magical remnants, forgotten yet alive with energy. As they settled into their makeshift training center, the flickering candlelight cast long shadows, creating an atmosphere that was both intimate and fraught with uncertainty. Ginny stepped forward, her eyes aflame with determination. "We need to know what we're up against," she insisted. The group nodded, and even Malfoy, now an uneasy ally, seemed to sense the gravity of the moment. Neville took a deep breath. "Luna, tell us what you found," he urged, his voice steady despite the storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. Luna glanced at him, her eyes reflecting a blend of excitement and trepidation. "The stronghold is guarded by enchantments and wards that will make it hard to breach," she detailed, her voice soft yet fervent. "But I believe it also houses something more plans for a resurgence we can't ignore." The revelation sparked unease, but also a fierce resolve among them. As they discussed their strategies, Neville realized the stakes were higher than he anticipated. This was no longer just about defending themselves. It was about fighting for those who couldn't. The plan began to take shape, but Neville could feel the pressure building within him, grasping at his insecurities. It was during their discussions that their bond began to stir deeper emotions. Ginny caught Neville's eye, her expression reflecting a layered understanding that made his heart race. He wished to draw closer, to share not just their fears, but also their hopes. The tension crackled between them, palpable and electrifying, just like the energy in the room. They were comrades, but in the silence, an unspoken connection blossomed. As their training progressed, their movements became more synchronized, and gaps closed between them trust and perhaps something more intense and profound beginning to form. Just as Neville felt the stirring warmth of connection, a cold shiver pulled at his spine, the shadows deepened, and a chilling reminder of their precarious situation surfaced. That night, as they prepared to leave, Neville resolved that they would infiltrate the stronghold the very next night. A feeling of resolve surged through him. They would face the darkness together. Their secrets would be unveiled, revealing not just the plans of the Death Eaters, but the secrets hidden within themselves. The path ahead was laden with danger, yet deep down, he sensed a fire within his friends. They were ready to stand together, facing whatever shadows lay ahead. The air was thick with anticipation, as Neville and the Dumbledores' army prepared to infiltrate the secret Death Eater stronghold. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery glow over the landscapes, but it failed to illuminate the depths of uncertainty shadowing Neville's heart. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of expectation pressing down on him. This was their moment, but fear gnawed at him, whispering doubts that threatened to unravel everything they had worked for. As they approached the darkened edges of the stronghold, the chilling sense of danger swirled around them, tightening their nerves. Luna walked closely beside him, her unwavering confidence palpable, despite the treacherous road ahead. "Remember, Neville, we're stronger together," she murmured, her voice reinforcing the bond that had blossomed amongst them in their time of adversity. It was this connection that shone like a beacon, cutting through the shadows that loomed over them. With Ginny leading their small team, they crept through the dense underbrush, hearts pounding like war drums. Each step brought them closer to the pulse of the darkness that awaited them inside the stronghold. The adrenaline coursed through Neville, feeding his resolve. They would not cower. Courage blossomed within him as they reached the entrance, an ominous archway that loomed like the threshold to a dragon's lair. As they slipped through the entrance, the atmosphere inside was electric. They entered a vast chamber adorned with haunting portraits and flickering torches, illuminating the sinister symbols etched into the stone walls. The sight sent a shiver down Neville's spine, but he silenced the panic, focusing instead on the task at hand. They had to locate the plans Luna had spoken of, the very blueprint of the Death Eater's next move. Suddenly, a door swung open, and a group of Death Eaters emerged, their faces obscured by sinister masks. The tension erupted, and panic seized the group. But amid the chaos, Neville stood firm, finding his voice among the clamor. "We stand together," he shouted, rallying his friends as disparate spells flew past them. "We're not afraid of you." An intense battle ensued, with spells crackling through the air, a vivid dance of light and darkness that mirrored their own inner turmoil. Neville felt the heat of the magic surge as he fought side by side with Ginny and Luna. But then, amidst the tumult, he noticed a shimmer of betrayal from within their ranks. a hooded figure had transformed, revealing Malfoy's signature smirk. Hearts sank as they realized his duplicity. Yet, in that moment of despair, something remarkable happened. The DA rallied around Neville, their bonds of friendship fueling their strength. Together, they focused their combined magic to push back against the tide of darkness. With each spell cast, fear transformed into a fierce unity stronger than any sorrow or betrayal. Just when hope seemed lost, Neville found his resolve surging to the forefront. With a final, powerful incantation, he rallied the DA, and they joined forces against the Death Eaters in an explosive showdown, their unity shining brightly against the encroaching darkness. Victory was hard-won, and as the last spell dissipated into the night, Neville looked around at his friendsuch, one breathing heavily but alive, shoulders squared with pride. It was here, in the heart of the battle, that Neville understood what true bravery meant. It wasn't the absence of fear, but facing that fear head-on with those you love. They had triumphed not only over the Death Eaters, but over the shadows of doubt lingering in their hearts. As dawn broke, casting light upon the remaining remnants of the battle, Neville knew that they had emerged victorious. Together, they had ignited a fire for the future, one that embraced friendship and hope, forever binding them in spirit